Welcome everybody to another episode of Bill on Bikes. Thanks for joining me today. As the recording of this, it is May 13th, 2026. Another hot one out here in Phoenix. And I'm going to get into a little bit of S&S stuff today. This is a Bourget with an S&S engine. I'm going to show you how to go to their website and use their VIN checker to see what engine you have, it's a great tool. I find even a lot of dealers don't tend to use it. It's there, you should use it. It's not dealer only, the public can use it, so it's great. We do have a dealer portal, but this is for anybody, and I highly recommend going there to find out what your engine specs are, and we're going to show you how to do that. We have a leaking front head gasket, so I'm going to do both, because if we're doing the front, we might as well do the rear. I also have a starter motor issue. This is a Compufire starter installed. That's not what originally came in a Bourget, so someone changed this along the way. Sounds like the starter clutch is grinding away. I've already pre-ordered the parts, so I have them in stock. And so let me reposition the camera, and we'll get it pointed at my computer, and I'll show you how to use the VIN checker at S&S Cycle. And I really thank all you guys for joining us today. Hopefully you'll find this informative, and let's go on with another episode of Bill on Bikes. And it's very hot here. I have a cold caffeinated beverage. Love our Mexican Cokes out here. Love the glass bottles. So on a hot day like today, I definitely need something cold. So cheers, and let's get working. Okay guys, hopefully I'm out of the way of the screen here and we can see what's going on. If you just put in engine serial number lookup and S&S, this page will come right up. If you go here and put in the years, unless you're dealing with a Harley, it's not going to help you because they just strictly look at Harley. So what you want to do is scroll down, and you're going to put your serial number right in here, which is on the left side of the case. I've already saved his number in here, so let's pop that in, and we'll hit search. Okay, and you can see everything that's come up here. It will tell us everything about this engine. Let's see. It tells us what pistons they used, even the bounce factor at 60%. It is a 93 cubic inch, 3 5/8 bore, 4.5 inch stroke, the crankshaft they used, the carburetor that it would have come with, alternator. I mean, it's really a good resource for you guys to find things. Now, I'll also tell you what rocker boxes the bike came with. So let me reposition the camera and I'm going to describe that to you. So now that we went and used the resource from S&S on the VIN checker, so we know it's 3 5/8 bore, 4.5 inch stroke, 93 cubic inches, we can order our gasket kits. They make a lot of different gasket kits. There's different rocker boxes. So when you order from S&S, or if you even go to Drag Specialties and you want to order these parts, you're going to get your head gasket and base gaskets and seals and things like that. Intake seals will be in a separate package than what the rocker box come with, because the rocker boxes, there were some different options depending on who was assembling the bike. A lot of times companies like Bourget, Titan, Big Bear, Big Dog, they assemble these engines by themselves. They got the components and everything was assembled. That's just the way they did it. Some other companies just bought the engine and plopped them in it, so it depends. So in this case, we need to know what rocker boxes we have, because the rocker boxes are going to come in separate gasket kits. In this case, the easiest way to tell, there's 6 screws in the upper rocker box. That lets me know these are S&S billet rocker boxes. If they were 4 screws, those were TP Performance ones, and then you would order the appropriate gasket kit from S&S or Drags. I actually ordered these through S&S themselves. And here's what the TP rocker box kit would look like. This particular kit, I have some on the shelf that I actually ordered from TP, but you can also get them from S&S. So you just have to make note of that when you're ordering these parts. Again, that VIN checker is a great resource. It gets you started. They're very knowledgeable at S&S, obviously. You give them a call, they'll help you figure out what you need. So really take advantage of it because it'll help you, and that goes for small shops and dealers too. A lot of Harley dealers don't even know, about that website because it's kind of not their thing, but if they get one of these bikes in and decide to work on it, it could really help you out. So we're going to start disassembling this. I'll video it as we're going along. If I see anything funky or whatever, we'll talk about it, but for the most part it should be pretty straightforward, and let's get to it. Thanks for watching. All right, let's start by getting our fuel tank drained. I've shown you guys before, love to use the gas tapper. Great product, use it every week in the shop. It's never failed me. While the gas tapper is doing its thing, if you want to save your head from damage, these foolish things, you want to cover them. They're the most dangerous grips. The guys that do those and the pegs, I've never understood it. I think it's foolishness, dangerous, and I have been stabbed by those things too many times in my life. So I protect myself with things like this, that and fishtail exhaust, which I've shown in other videos how I tape those things up so I don't get my calves or my bottom of my legs torn up. The thing that gets me about stuff like this, the guys ride never think about what happens if I get in an accident. Also the ones that have like, have you seen like they look like a crown type of gas cap? Can you imagine if you rear end someone and you have to go over the bars? I mean, that would just tear you open. It's crazy, but guys don't think safety a lot, unfortunately. Pretty straightforward disassembly. As you can see, this is where our head gasket was leaking. You can see all the oil. We're also getting, it looks like the back one was starting to go too, so I'm glad we pulled it down. You may have noticed, I always, and I've said this in other videos, but I always will stamp an F for the front cylinder and obviously an R for the rear. Just way you never get them mixed up. I'm going to remove the cylinders now, and usually we don't have issues like we do on the Evo Harleys where the bases of the cylinders tend to warp. The S&S ones are heavy duty enough, the cases are heavy duty, we don't really tend to have that issue, so, which is actually a good thing. And for the mileage on this bike, some carbon on the pistons, but that's kind of to be expected. So far very straightforward, and we'll just keep on moving. All right, have my stud protectors ready to go here as always. I also have a rag covering the tappet blocks. We don't want to get any debris in there by any chance. Nice and gentle here. Remember when we set these down, never set them on the spigots, always on the head gasket area. So we'll flip those upside down, protect the pistons and the studs, and get the gaskets off after. You're gonna want to move that down just a little bit or you will have clearance issues with the cylinder and the top of the bottom section of the frame. There we go. All right, this is also a good time to take a look at the pistons, look for any abnormal wear. Also, if you look at the pattern here on both thrust sides of the piston, you can tell if the rod is running straight in the cylinder because you'll get a weird shape to these. It's kind of hard to explain, but these ones look really good. Really good. It's a good time to grab the piston, feel the play in the wrist pin. That's good. That's good. Time to check out the crank also. Make sure it's moving free. This one's in pretty good shape. So far, so good. Disassembly went easy peasy. I don't see any big issues. Now the worst part of the job is cleaning all these parts, but it's not as bad as it usually would be because I have my new Gray Mills power washer. Can't wait to show you that in action. One thing that upset me about that machine I paid a little over $18,000. It was another $700 to ship it here. And they literally have an option for an air nozzle inside. I've mounted the air nozzle, but there's a kit that you need for the outside, which I don't have yet. So, you know, you can have the door closed and, you know, blow everything off, clean the parts off while it's, you know, enclosed. Who wants to blow stuff, you know, residue all over your shop? And I'm just mind blown that they, you know, charge another $200 and something. I didn't even know it was an option because I bought it from Granger and didn't know. I mean, it didn't give me an option to order the air nozzle setup. So a little disappointed in that, but I'm gonna have the kit on order and then I'll be able to do it the right way. For now, I'll have to open the door, run my own air hose in there and blow it off. But soon enough, we'll have it squared away. Anyway, I'm just griping a little bit. You'd think for that kind of money, you wouldn't have to have a $200 option. It just doesn't make sense. But all right, the Bourget's torn down. Now the boring part, just the cleaning, and I'll do a little bit of that on film. Other than that, we'll show you the reassembly, but the cleaning part, I don't think you need to see. So let me get going on that, and I'll see you in a little bit. Give you guys an idea what this looks like. What a beautiful machine, though. Wanted one of these for a long time. You have these air nozzles here that help keep the glass somewhat clean. Doesn't work great, but not too bad. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. This Aqua Space cleaner, I actually like Simple Green. That's what I'm using. I had some stuff from Zepp. I didn't like it, but it's heated. This tray will hold like 500 pounds, so it'll far exceed what I'll ever do with it. I guess you could put a small engine block in here. I don't know. And I think it'll do up to about 600 pounds of pressure, which that's a little much. Obviously, I don't need that. It's all adjustable. Really is a nice machine. Owned the Harley shop back in the days, but much smaller. This has all been redesigned. It didn't have this kind of pressure. It didn't have the air to clean the glass. As you can see, it does work. Sometimes you're flying in the blind here, but that's not bad. I'm going to get a lot of use out of this. And these things were a mess. It's going to save me on chemicals too. I use a lot of ID Red. I won't have to use as much now. Well, we'll take a peek at these. Should probably put some talc on my hands before I put them inside the gloves. Probably help, especially on a sticky day. All right, I have to move the camera back and we'll take a look. Bad, you can see I missed some here, but that's me missing it. You can see the difference though where I cleaned it. So I'll give it another dose here. But man, that's not bad. They were really yucky shape, so clean them up a little bit more. I got to get used to the machine, but boy, that's not bad. So I got to get in here a little bit better, and not bad at all. So I'll hit them one more time, clean them up, but man, it's so much faster than doing it the old-fashioned way. So beats cleaning it with ID Red or cleaning it by hand. This is all stainless also, so it won't rust. The one I had before at the Harley shop, it all rusted out. It's just, this one should last for a long, long time. Hopefully it outlasts me. All right, let me finish this and we'll start cleaning the other stuff. All right, guys, back at it after a long night. Friday morning, I think it's the 15th. Anyway, came across some old training information that I had from back in the day. I have a plethora of information, you know, in 51 years of Harley service, but this is some of my old training manuals from Harley. Remember, I was trying to explain to you the wear on the piston, and I said it's kind of hard to explain without being able to show you. Well, I'm hoping you're going to be able to see this, but they actually show the wear patterns. And maybe if I take a picture with the phone, I could have my guy blow this up for me. But it'll show you if the wear pattern, if you had, you know, a bent rod, how it's nice and straight in the middle of the skirt, showing, you know, you have good non-twisted or bent, you know, connecting rods. And here's what a bent one would look like. You get that really strange pattern. So much information in here. And the reason I came across this stuff was I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the carbon on the pistons, the little bit in the heads. These heads came out really good after using my power washer. I mean, it got most even the carbon out, which is pretty good. They don't need to be perfect when you put them back together as far as carbon goes. And the reason that is, we had so many issues back in the day when the Evolution engine first came out, that Harley had a product called engine combustion cleaner. And the combustion cleaner it came in, I can't remember if it was a 6-ounce can. That's why I was going through this stuff. I couldn't find anything on it, but you'd get the engine hot and you'd go out for a test ride, come back, and you'd have the air cleaner off, and you would squirt this cleaner in there with the engine running, get it till the bike actually died, and then you just shoot the rest of it in there and let it sit. And I think it was like for 15 minutes or whatever. Then you'd start the bike up, you know, bring it up to about 3 or 4 grand, and you just watch the crap come out of the pipe. That main issue happened because we had a lot of head gasket issues when the Evo first came out. We went through like 4 different renditions of head gaskets, so they finally got the proper material and got it down to that graphite type material that we have today that works very well. Matter of fact, I like the graphite style gaskets if on a stock engine, or even over Cometic if I can, you know, use them. The Cometic all metal ones are great, especially in higher compression, but with the stock stuff, those ones seal very well, the stock ones. So Harley saw compression coming up because of, you know, there was so much carbon buildup on those flat top early pistons that we had. And we didn't even, like I said, in the very early days when they first came out, we didn't even have valve pockets. We had to grind those in ourselves if we were doing any kind of high lift cam or anything like that. So it's not as important. You know, that may look like there's a lot of carbon on there. There's very little. I might take a little bit of the loose stuff off, but that's about it. You don't have to take the pistons off, make them perfect, put them back, because within 500 miles, they're going to look like that again anyway. One thing you can do is you could take about 3 ounces of just water and get the engine hot. If you had the air cleaner off, open it up to about 3,000 RPMs, and you just, with a light sprayer, you just squirt water in there. It will literally steam clean the top of those pistons. Also, you got to remember the first Evo pistons and heads when they came out, that was a collaboration with Porsche. That was Harley's second collaboration. First was the Nova project, which never saw the light of day. Then the Evo heads were done in conjunction with Porsche, the wedge-shaped combustion chamber. We never had that before. And then, of course, the V-Rod. So the 3 different times we collaborated with Porsche. But on the Evo, that wedge-shaped combustion chamber was on a particular Porsche automotive engine. And they actually had trouble with carbon, and they had a tool that went down through the spark plug hole, and it would actually clean the carbon off the top of the piston, because they weren't able to have like a combustion chamber cleaner like we had. It was pretty simple for us. Pull the air cleaner cover, air filter, and squirt it in it. Stuff worked great. You wouldn't believe how much crap you'd get out of that bike when you brought it up to $3 or $4 grand. But anyway, that's why I bring that up. I just get a lot of the loose stuff off here on the edge. If they were really bad, we'd have a different conversation, but that's totally normal. You get guys that go in here and just make them perfect, and honestly, within 500 miles, it's right back. So anyway, I just thought I'd tell you that. I'm gonna get I gotta finish scraping off the base gaskets and get things cleaned up, and we'll start the assembly. So let's get rocking and make it a good day. Believe it or not, guys, I actually found an image of the combustion chamber cleaner. It's the only one I could find. Someone had found a can of it with another storage fogging oil at an estate sale. So I'm hoping if I hold this up here, you guys can see it. I'll also give this picture to my editor. I took a picture with my phone to see if he can, pop it up on the screen for you also. Here's the instructions on the back, but the writing's so small I couldn't make it out. But I just thought that was pretty cool. That's pretty nostalgic. We used to sell this stuff, cases of it back in the day. But that was Harley's solution to stop blowing head gaskets until they figured out the proper material. So anyway, something to see. As you can see, I have a very glamorous lunch here. Peanut butter and jelly, and a cold caffeinated beverage, a nice Coke. Anyway, we're making good progress, but I was thinking about something. I think when we started the video and we went and did the VIN checker at S&S, they said it was a 93 cubic inch. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm doing this, that can't be right, because it's 3 5/8 bore, 4 5/8 stroke. So bore times 4 times stroke. Then there's a mathematical formula we use. I'm like, that's something wrong there. It should be like a 1565 cc. That would make it a 96 cubic inch. So I don't know why they say 93. I was just reading it off the screen. Man, these cars are loud around here. Yeah, something wrong there. But anyway, if you were to call S&S, it'd be very helpful with that. Because if you're not in the shop, you're not going to be thinking about this and trying to figure it out yourself. But anyway, so this would be a 96 cubic inch, not a 93. Maybe if it was a shovel head, it would be a 93. But I don't know why I would have that on there. That had, I punched in the proper VINs, so I'm not sure. Anyway, let me finish my lunch. We're going to get the head bolts torqued, the rocker box is on, and hopefully, I still have to fix the starter motor. If not, we'd be able to have this running today. So, and I'm actually going to take Saturday off, believe it or not. We have family coming into town, and I got things to do around the house. So I actually have 2 days off, which is amazing for me. Anyway, I'm going to eat my lunch, and we'll get back to work. All right, guys, we've had a really good day. It's about 6:30 in the evening here in Phoenix. I'm going to leave the exhaust off till Monday, seeing I'm not working tomorrow. It'll be easier to get the starter motor out. I will have to pull the primary cover. I did fix his front engine mount here where the oil filter mounts. It keeps coming loose, so I put some longer Allens in here with a locking nut on the other side. It's a little strange, this setup. Kind of FXR in the back, but in the front they use the Dyna mount, and I don't know, my personal opinion, doesn't work great. I would have definitely, if it was me, I would have gone with a FXR mount in the front when I did the design, but I guess they thought they were building a better mousetrap at the time, so that's what Bourget did. Anyway, let's get the fuel tank on, and we'll leave, like I said, we'll leave the exhaust off, and we'll get back on it Monday, and we should be able to wrap it up. Still a little bit of fuel in here. I might get a little drip, but that's okay. Let's see if we get this up in positioning. Normally I would lower the bike, but to kind of give you guys a better view here, I'm doing it like this. Look at that, almost like it was meant to fit. Pretty good. A little bit of fuel. You notice I always, even on these models, I cover the rocker box, so I take a chance on damaging someone's motorcycle. I'm not in the business of that. Accidents happen, but try to prevent them, right? All right, guys, I'm going to finish mounting this tank and get my clamp on here in the front, get the bolts on, installed and tightened, torqued up, and then I'm going to call it a night and enjoy my 2-day weekend, which I just about never do. But that's going to change because I think I work a little too much. 2 weeks ago, I literally put in 80 hours in a week. And I think this week, or last week, I did 60. This week, because I'm taking tomorrow off, will be a little less, but it's still probably a good 50-hour week. Anyway, that's enough work, and everything will be here Monday. I hope you will be here Monday, and we'll get this thing wrapped up, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you then. Monday, May 17th, we're back on the Bourget. I've already pulled the primary cover. Obviously, it's a belt drive setup. When I did the disassembly to pull the jack shaft so we can rebuild the starter motor, because the starter clutch is definitely shot, I noticed a couple things. One, the starter jack shaft coupling, there's a snap ring in here, which I doubt you can really see that well, but it's not sitting in the groove properly, so that's a problem. And the other issue is starter ring gear is missing or mangled a lot of teeth. A couple here are almost gone. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Hopefully you can. Now, one good thing is these are replaceable on this particular hub. I don't know who makes this hub. I don't know if it's BDL, Carrata, I don't really know. But a couple things working in our favor. One, my customer Brian is very good friends with Bridget Bourget, and Bridget is based here in Phoenix, obviously. So we have a pretty good direct line as far as getting parts for these. And he's going to give her a call, see if we can get that ring gear. While he's trying to get that from Bridget, I'm going to be over there rebuilding the starter motor, and hopefully we'll be able to get this running today. If not, I'll have to put it aside. I'll go to work on the next bike, which over there I have an Road King Peace Officer Special, and I think it has a fuel issue, and I'm not really sure yet. I will film it, and we'll show the rebuilding process of that. Other than that, I'm going to get to work. Thanks for watching, and let's keep moving. Okay, we got the Compufire disassembled and on the bench. These are a very strange starter motor compared to what we normally work with. You can just see the mechanism here that works with the solenoid. It's just a piece of like a plastic arm that moves it in and out. And obviously the heavy gear drive, which makes it unique for pushing, you know, starting a big engine like a 96 doesn't need this. Trust me, a 96 cubic inch engine does not need this starter motor, but that's what someone decided to put in it. So we're putting in a new solenoid, obviously the new starter drive, and we'll pop it back together. But compared to the Hitachis and things like that, this is a very, very different starter than what we're used to dealing with. But a little bit overkill for this engine, but that's what's in it, and that's what we'll rebuild and get the client back on the road. All right, starter motor's in, pre-tested it, exhaust is on. Now we just need the starter ring gear and reinstall the clutch and the belt and all that, and we'll be good to go. So hopefully by tomorrow I'll have the parts we need. I'm waiting to hear from Bridget Bourget. She was supposed to call me tonight, but for some reason we missed phone calls. So hopefully tomorrow, and I'll be able to get the parts to wrap this up, and then we can go for a nice test ride. This should be our new ring gear. Don't you just love these peanuts? I don't. All right, this should be it. It should be 66 teeth. Yep, 66 teeth, new screws, which is great. This will be it. And got new locking plates for the actual clutch hub itself, for the actual outer plate. I should say the clutch plate, not the clutch hub. And I do want to point something out. I have decided to change the jack shaft. I got an original Harley one. This is the 9-tooth starter gear. Then they went to the 10, the smaller one. They changed the gear ratio. And they're not as strong. Obviously, these are heavy duty. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't necessarily like the snap ring in here. It looks like the groove is worn on the original, and I'm worried that's going to pop out. So we're going to change this out as a unit, which will take me, 5 minutes, less than that. And I also want to point something else out. When you look at this spacer here, you're going to see there's a chamfer. Probably, I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. Chamfer on one side, no chamfer on the other. The chamfer will face the actual starter gear itself. You'll have a little gap in here. You're always going to want to see a little gap. If you buy an aftermarket one, oftentimes they don't say which way the chamfer goes. I just know this from doing so many. This didn't even have instructions with it. So if you're in that situation, you don't have the instructions, just remember the chamfer goes towards the shaft and towards the gear. And you won't have any issues, and you'll have that gap. You see here, you don't have a gap if it's in backwards. And you can install it backwards. It's very easy to do. But you want to put it in like this. And you also have a little chamfer here that goes towards the starter motor. But not this deep one. This one's different. Okay? All right, let me get these screws out. It's going to take a little time. I'm going to use heat. I've popped one out already. They're not coming out very easily. So let me get that done, get it the ring gear on, and then we will reinstall it on the bike. All right, last screw out of the 6. Believe it or not, this has taken me over an hour to get these screws out. They're in with the red Loctite. They've been in there for a long time. You don't want to strip the heads out. That'll make a nightmare. You don't want to break the screw, which probably slim to none that you're going to break it, but you could strip the head out, and then you're going to have to drill it and everything else. We got one last one to go. I keep heating it. Use a little, very little ZEP 45 penetrating oil, and heat it up, and hopefully we'll get this last one out. But you make it look so easy on YouTube. That's what I hear all the time. I get calls, guys say that to me. They go, well, this is edited. It's not always that easy. Time-consuming stuff. I already had this one pretty hot, so we should be almost good to go. And I don't want to use a real big torch. I don't want to put too much heat into the hub, in the clutch basket itself. So, all right, shut that off. We'll hit it with a little penetrating lube. It's going to smoke. You really don't want to breathe that in. Good stuff. And we're going to heat the edge of this and get that to help move into the threads. And I couldn't get in there with a standard 3/8 Allen. So I went with a shorter Allen here. I think it's 5/32. But at 3/8 drive, you can't get in between the teeth of where the belt goes on the hub and make good contact in the Allen, because what happens is it goes on an angle. So this thing's boiling hot. So a little leverage here. See if we can break it loose. Ooh, that's hot stuff. Hot stuff. Can't get enough. Hot stuff. Come on, baby. Ooh, that's still in there good. We're gonna hit it with some more heat. We having fun yet? All right, by the way, I'm very careful not to get any of that lubricant in the clutch itself. All right, ooh, that's hot stuff. Wow, that's how tight these things are. I am putting some pressure on there, and I do not want to strip this head out, and it is starting to get a little wonky. The only thing you can do is just hit it with more heat. It would be great if I had another person here, because one thing you can do is if you have the Allen in there and you have pressure on it, you can shock this by taking a hammer, just tapping this kind of quickly like this, a little harder than that, and just from the vibration, oftentimes these will just, you'll hear it break and it'll come right out. I do that technique on disc brake bolts all the time. Works great, especially, you know, a lot of times we're gonna change out, like say a front disc, it's warped. You just sit there and you tap it. That vibration transfers into that bolt and boom, they'll come right out. I'll have to show you that technique sometime. I might have in another video, I don't remember, but it works really good. I was literally taught that by a Harley engineer years and years ago. And sure enough, I was a happy camper. I don't want to breed that. It's not the best for you. Let's see if I can hit it with this real quick. It might help loosen it too. If that vibration helps it at all. Boy, this thing is hot. Put my heat gun on it. Boy, I am worried that's gonna strip out soon. I wonder if I should try to switch to a metric. Maybe. That would probably be a number 4 here. Yeah, that's gonna fit tighter. So we're gonna go to a number 4. Let's see if that helps. Last thing I wanna do is strip this out. That'll be a nightmare. Wow. That is redonkulous how tight that is. Last one too, figures. I think what I'm gonna do is let this penetrating oil sit here for a little bit, maybe 5 minutes or so, and see what happens. It's like watching paint dry. Or Zep 45 trying to penetrate the threads. Also boring. All right, let's see here. This doesn't work. I'm gonna let it sit longer and we'll come back to it. I do a little tap here too. Make sure this was the metric one because it's getting sloppy, guys. Oh no, that could be a problem. Maybe I just slipped it out of there. I wish I could get I had the right size Allen, just long enough to get in there. This one's too long. Flexes too much. Let's see. All right, this last screw does not want to be removed from the clutch hub. So, finally got to a point where it's rounded off. So, a little trick you can do. In this case, I'm taking a T27. I've taken it over to my welding bench, held it like this, held it up against the bench like this, tapped this in till it bottoms out. Hopefully that's going to give me enough leverage that possibly we can get this loose. I'm hoping. And this is still very hot. So again, I've been working on this for a while. I did stop the video because kind of a waste of time for you guys. So let's see what happens here. Hopefully, if I can use the bench too with some leverage. So let's do this. Let's get this down here. Maybe a little leverage on the ratchet. Ah, I got a dog, and his name is Bingo. Look at that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. What a pain in the butt. And that's that. Boy, that was in there. You can see how we used that T27. I'll have to put that over the vise after and get it out. All right, hopefully this will come right off. Sure, there it is. Look how bad the teeth are here. Hopefully you guys can see that. They are just mangled away here. Get the new one out. This is a Riviera Primo, so you can see what the new one looks like. You can't let it go out like that, because you know what? That bike would be back. Man, that's still hot. That bike would be back here in no time with an issue, and I'd have an upset customer, and I don't need that. All right, we're going to get this cleaned up. We'll install the new one. Fortunately, I have to put those, I don't know, those are probably like quarter 20s or so on with red Loctite, because they don't want that coming off, and I can see why. And hopefully, I won't have to redoing this again at any time soon. So, all right, let me get that mounted up, and we'll get this installed on the bike. One little thing I like to do, I like to put a little pre-bend in these locking tabs, because it can be really difficult once you've torqued the nuts to get under these and bend them against the flat of the nut. So a little pre-bend makes life a lot easier. Okay, and I like to use just a little bit of the purple Loctite, which is the lowest grade. You really don't have to, you know, using lock tabs here, but it makes life a little bit easier. I also put just a dab of lithium grease on that adjuster. That in position, put our spring in position, and you want to put these in evenly, a couple turns at a time, and those are in there good. And we'll torque these up. All right. Now you're going to want to bend the lock tab that best lines up with the flat of the nut. You don't need to do both. That's overkill. So we want to do this one. Makes it a lot easier that I pre-bent that. And this one, probably this one. This one seems to be the best. All right. All we have to do now is get the primary cover on and we can fire this baby up. All right, other than the oil change, which I'll do after we cycle the engine a few times, get it warm, we're gonna run it for 30 seconds, shut it off, let it cool down, run it for a minute, let it cool down, and then run it for a few minutes, let it cool down. That way we're getting a good preload here on the head gaskets and the new base gaskets, and hopefully all will go well. And I don't remember, did I put fuel in the tank, guys? I don't remember. So you know what? I'm gonna clean up the tools. We'll drop the bike down and I gotta look in the fuel tank to see if we put fuel in yet or not. I'm not sure I did. It's been a few days since I've worked on this. So hopefully everything works well and we'll go from there. No gas. All right, guys. Well, I think we're all set here. I've cleaned her up, fuel is on, and we will choke it. Probably take a little bit to get it started here. And I did want to mention, you see how I struggled with those small 5/32 Allens. The new screws that came in the kit were 3/16 Allen. So we probably had enough complaints, you know, trying to get those out, stripping them out. So at least they upgraded those. Going back together, easy peasy. All right, hopefully our starter and everything works here. Might take a little bit, like I said, to get it going. I'm only gonna run it for 30 seconds, shut it off. We're gonna let it cool down. Let's give it a shot. All right, started right up, that's great. See any leaks here, we'll run it some more, obviously. I'll let it completely cool, run it for a minute, completely cool, couple minutes, completely cool, 3 minutes. And then you'll notice also I didn't give it any gas. First time I usually don't, let it just warm up, not a big deal. Replaced all the fuel lines here on the carb and stuff, that's all done. The starter's rebuilt. Oh, you can see it puked. I don't know if you can see that. I should have put a pan under that breather because this bike's been sitting for a while. Not a big deal, that's normal. That's what I've shown you guys many times, how the oil gets over here in the cam compartment, breather gear picks it up and it's gonna push it out the breather. Not a big deal. So we will let that, that's why I'm doing the oil also at the end after we run it a few times. One other thing, I brought in a big dog that has the TP rocker boxes and I wanted to show you what those look like because we started our video with that. So let me pan this camera over. I'm gonna move our light. You can see those rockers. Hang on, let me get this steady for you. Hopefully you can see that. So they have, let me get over here. They have the 4 countersunk screws up in the top of the rocker. So those are the TP rocker boxes. We were dealing with the S&S rockers and I showed you how important that is when you're ordering your gasket kits. Go to the VIN checker at the S&S website or, you know, just talk to them at S&S, they'll help you. All right, guys, I hope this was another helpful video. As you can see, it doesn't always come apart easy when you're going to do a job. Sometimes they don't go together easy. Things always look easy on YouTube, not necessarily true. Anyway, I'm gonna run some more heat cycles like I said earlier and change the oil, and then I'll go for a test ride, and if we have no leaks, no drips, no errors, which I am not very concerned that we will have, I'll be able to deliver this to my customers. So I really appreciate all you guys watching, and make sure you tell your friends, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on the next episode of Bill on Bikes.